a bear. I'll eat your face off.
I love that it started as, hey, I'm Paddington LaRusso. But then you just became, you bastard.
You bastard.
Just like Daniel LaRusso always says, you bastard.
You bastard. It's a New Jersey accent.
Yeah.
It's Paddington.
He went from Peru to New Jersey.
No, Peru was a suburb in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Everyone knows that. I'm from the Peru district in New Jersey.
Cause we're recording for the fifth period boss. Now Booglaoo's on the full-time squad. You know that we're recording for the fifth period boss. And we no longer hide that we're all living in a fifth period world. Living in a fifth period world. Living in a fifth period world. Living in a fifth period world.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Fifth Period, the film podcast hosted by two media teachers, where today we are saying farewell to the Peruvian jungle and heading back to London for a sequel's worth of shenanigans. My name is Mr. Brown and with me as always is...
Mr. Boylan. Good to be back. Our school holidays, a couple of weeks off, reinvigorated and ready to tackle this film. Not really tackle, give it a big old hug.
A big old bear hug.
Yeah, nice, that's good.
How were your holidays, mate?
Yeah, really good. Good bit of R&R, good bit of relaxation and rest and recuperation. R&R.
R&R. Yeah.
Exactly, triple R.
Good movie, that.
I need to watch that.
We've done it on the pod before.
I have to check it out.
It's the most listened to episode of the pod.
Wow. Add one more to the view count and give it a listen, which you guys can do as well. So make sure that you're checking out all of the past episodes of the fifth period. Whether I've been on it or not, doesn't matter. It's always a good time. Now, good movies watched on the holidays, which we'll talk about in weekly watches in a little bit. But how was your break, mate?
Yeah, it was good. I saw you, so...
Can't be that
little
good.
bit of a dip in quality there.
That's right, only a little bit. That's fine.
Just a smidge. But no, it was a very, very chilled holiday break. I have been desperate to do nothing on my holidays for a long time. Mm-hmm. And this was a very nice combination of relaxing, but also some social stuff with some friends. So, perfect.
That's just the sweet spot. The Goldilocks of holiday breaks.
That's it. Not too hot, not too cold. In addition to our main discussion of Paddington 2 Electric Boogaloo today, we will be doing, as you said, a condensed version of our holiday weekly watches and also chatting some upcoming tantalising trailers. So if you want to skip ahead to any of that, I will leave time codes in the description below.
Hi, my name is Mark, and we are talking about Paddington 2.
Thanks heaps to Mark for his intro to the pod today. He came into the office yesterday and said, "Is the pod up yet?" I said, "No, mate, we're not recording it until tomorrow. And then it'll take about a week to come." And then he came in today again and goes, "Is the pod up again? We just spoke about this." So he's very, very keen, but it's good. I love it when the students get eager, even if it is only to hear their own intro.
And then turn it off.
Yeah, exactly right. That's fine. That's totally fine.
I think that still counts as a view.
100%.
So they were good. That's all we care about, the views.
That's it. But I did have Mark for United Media earlier this year. You may remember I previously shouted out Archie on the pod for the James Bond parody. Mark was in the group with Archie.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, I need to clarify too, because I did give Archie a lot of praise for bringing in his own props and costumes, but...
I've heard about this, the clarification, please.
Yes. Archie did bring in some props and things, but I believe Mark was the costume man. He brought in a full-on suit and everything. So, I love that dedication, and I'm glad that he's been able to come along to Film Club too, because I know for a while there was a lot of clashes with music lessons too. So
yes.
Good that he could come in the last week of term and that we could get him on just in case it no longer lines up.
Absolutely. Always a very keen member of the performing arts department, whether it's from the media side of things or playing music. So no, it was good to have him along at Film Club. And yeah, like you said, hopefully not too many clashes and he can pop his head in again.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Mark.
It's padding time.
Don't padding the run time.
Oi!
Hey! Oi!
So, that was a bit like Krusty the Clown. Yeah, that was pretty good.
We kick things off with Aunt Lucy and Uncle, is it pronounced Pastuzo?
Pastuzzo.
Pastuzzo.
Pastuzzo, I think, yeah.
They are Italian after all. A pastuzzo.
Yes, Peruvian Italian.
Peruvian Italian. Everybody knows Peruvia is a very, very...
Peruvia?
Yeah, Peruvia.
Peruvia. It's a part of New Jersey.
This is like the Russian doll of jokes.
Oh, Mr. Brown, when you're in Peruvia, can you do me a favor?
Yeah, I can.
Say hi to your mother for me.
Of course. Of course. Oh my goodness. So we kick things off in Peru, not Peruvia, with Aunt Lucy and Uncle Pastuzzo, or whatever the pronunciation is, aka Umbridge and Dumbledore.
I know, little headmasters of Hogwarts reunion.
What a couple they would have been together. Umbledore. That could have
Nice.
been like their pet name.
More like Dumbridge.
No, that's way better. That's way better. But while we are discussing that, there are so many Harry Potter alumni in this. We get old Slughorn later on as the antique shop owner.
Yes.
We got Molly Weasley as the Browns' housekeeper. And we get Mad Eye Moody as the cook in the prison.
Cracks knuckles.
While we're shouting out Harry Potter cast, we obviously got some very sad news over the holidays. Maggie Smith passing away. We were devastated to hear. She's so incredible. I mean, we've talked about our praise of her when we've done Harry Potter on the pod previously.
Yes.
And we're going to be doing plenty more praise for her next week with a little bit of a dedication in her honour.
Looking forward to that. But yeah, this movie, very similar to Harry Potter. It feels just like an all-star cast of Britain's best actors.
Stacked. If you watch any British movies or TV shows, you are likely to recognise someone new in every scene.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Whether it's for literally 30, 40 seconds or for a more major part of the movie. So it really lends the quality to it. And straight from the off, Emil Staunton and Michael Gambon, two massive actors in British film and television history. I thought it was pretty cool just to get them as the family figures that Paddington is about to have in mere seconds.
Yeah, wow. Every time I hear Michael Gambon, I just picture did you put your name in the goblet of fire? I can't not hear like the aggressive version of Dumbledore, which was such a stark contrast from
Richard Harris, yeah. That's how Pastuzzo raises Paddington. Did you put enough marmalade on that sandwich?
But no, he's pretty calm in this section here.
Scarily so. He's waiting for him
like,
to crack.
Just let the little baby cub die. It's fine. Don't even worry about it. So Aunt Lucy is dreaming of being able to visit London with him, where the rivers run with marmalade and the streets are paved with bread.
Everyone knows.
Everybody knows. But there's no time for daydreaming because, as mentioned, Paddington comes raging down the river of death, and Aunt Lucy has to think very quickly on her paws and dive in and save him. While Gambit just sits there, I guess.
He's just chilling.
Yeah.
He's Pastuzzo. He's passive. Passive Pastuzzo. That's what they call me down the block in Peruvia.
Yeah. But they do manage to save him. They do manage to save him and commit to a life of raising him.
Yeah, it happens very quickly. I'm like, because I haven't seen the first Paddington movie, so I was like, okay, I'm just trying to get my bearings on what happens, and like, okay, we're out of Peru and we're in London.
Yeah. I think this one does a very good job of going, don't worry if you haven't seen the first one.
Yes.
We're going to establish the characters again and remind you of where everything is. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that whole like narration writing to Aunt Lucy, that was a reoccurring theme from the first one and will probably play into the new one that's being released.
Because that's where they're going.
To Peruvia. Yeah. They're going to Peruvia.
Paddington 3, Peruvian Drift.
That's it. That is it. But I did think it was really funny that they're talking about all of their like hopes and dreams of being able to potentially go visit London, and then Paddington comes into their life, and it's like, nah, no more dreams. Now you're stuck in Peru. It's like, bloody kids, am I right?
Them's the breaks, and I think this is in the first movie, and then I sort of learned it afterwards. Does Pastuzzo like pass away? Like he's killed by it's like some accident or something?
Possibly at the start of the first one.
Yeah.
I don't really remember the first one all that well. This was definitely my preferred out of the two.
Okay.
For a couple of reasons, but I would say after rewatching this one, it made me go, no, like everything is good about this film. So even though the first one doesn't have a very specific thing that I love about this film, I still think it would be good to do a rewatch of it.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't really remember the backstory all that much. I can't help you.
No, that's fair. That's what I was going to ask you. Were the Paddington books a part of your upbringing much as a kid?
They were, definitely. Like, we knew the character pretty well. This is like a real Mandela effect thing. What colour wellies does Paddington wear?
I don't know. Yellow?
See, it was a bit of a trick question because...
He doesn't?
He's not wearing wellies in a lot of the stuff that I looked up today. But I think over the years, there's probably been like editions where there's like a book where it's like Paddington in the Rain or whatever it might be. And maybe those were the ones that I owned.
The Wellingtons of Windsor Gardens.
Yeah. But you can get different variations of Paddington merch. Sometimes he has a yellow hat. Sometimes he's got a red hat. And
got to make that money. Like, it's a massive thing, particularly in Britain, but like all over the world. Like, it sold 35 million copies of the Paddington books have been sold throughout his career. Which is pretty crazy.
It's why the cast would be so stacked, because he's such a beloved character that people would have jumped at the opportunity to appear in something like this.
And particularly because the first film did so well, and then the second one, unfortunately, Michael Bond, the author of the books, passed away 6 months before the movie came out. But yeah, it comes off the back of a really successful first film, still directed by the same guy who did Mighty Boosh, which I think is pretty funny.
There's a quirkiness to some of the comedic moments, and we'll get to one later, that actually does feature a character that pops up in Mighty Boosh a lot. And you just go, this is so weird and out there, and it fits. You can totally see the connection there. But I like how it kind of starts with a bit of a morning routine. Him riding Paddington into the window, and then it's just him wiping the window, but it makes it two. Like, those little details are so good. Also, as I said, they do a really good job of re-establishing the family that he lives with. And so because he's writing to Aunt Lucy, we hear all the details about it.
It makes sense, that he's filling in basically. This is what everyone's up to.
Yeah, here's what you missed kind of thing. Previously on Paddington. So Mrs. Brown is swimming to France. Mr. Brown is doing, was it called Chacrobatics? Chacrobatics. Yeah. Open your mind and your legs will follow.
Yep.
Judy is getting into journalism, and Jonathan, aka J-Dog, built a steam engine.
But he's not into trains anymore.
No, well, that's what they say. But it's really good storytelling because it's a fun montage. It's a refresh of who all the characters are. And it establishes all of these skills that then play a pivotal role in the conclusion of the film.
100%. The one that was interesting, a little bit of trivia, Sally Hawkins, who plays Mrs. Brown, the film that she had just come off the back end of filming right before she did this was Shape of Water, when she did a lot of filming like underwater when it like gets to set. Mrs. Brown's a swimmer now.
Yeah. I had that listed as when she dives in at the end and she's looking at a anthropomorphic creature through a cage underwater. I was like, this is a real Shape of Water moment right here.
Yeah, not Doug Jones in the Paddington suit.
Was it not Doug Jones playing Paddington?
No.
I thought
crazy.
Yeah, because he can contort his body in some.
And that very real looking bear.
Yeah.
I mean, like all jokes aside, Paddington does look really cool. I think
looks good. It's good design.
And Ben Wishaw's just the voice work I thought was just like, oh, this is perfect.
It really is.
Ben Wishaw's like tone has just got this real sort of charming, uplifting, like it's full of optimism and kindness.
It works towards his naivety as well.
Yes.
Like, I love a couple of things they established early on. One, that he thinks Mr. Brown must be 80 because all older people are 80 years old, but also getting tricked by the coin. And there's sort of like this sad innocence about him being like, I swear it wasn't in there. As if like he's done something wrong.
Yeah, he's stolen the money.
Yeah, it's so good. I love it. He's such an infectious character. But Aunt Lucy's 100th birthday is coming up, and Paddington wants to buy her a perfect gift because of everything that she's done for him.
So he goes to see Mr. Gruber.
He does, who's quite a character.
Jim Broadbent, that accent's going all over the shop.
Maddie literally turned to me and she goes, what accent is he trying to be doing? And I said, something vaguely European?
European accent.
Yeah, that's it.
It kind of rolls between German and French and everything in between.
It's quirky. That's what it is.
Quirky European man.
That's it.
They're the only people who are in antique stores are quirky European men.
That's true. That's so true. But amongst all the knickknacks there, he spots a pop-up book of letters. Why are you coffin?
Just because of all the knickknacks he sees before he gets to the pop-up book.
Oh, you're thinking of like
the hair static
yeah.
bag. How about these rolling shoes? And he's like, please, Mr. Good, be serious, while he's wearing the fruit hat.
He wants to buy the pop-up book of London because she has always wanted to come there before kids destroyed her hopes and dreams.
That's what they do.
That's true.
This is what they do.
But speaking of hopes and dreams, this animation sequence where they go inside the book, my word.
It's gorgeous.
It is so good.
Yeah, Madame Kozlova's like great-grandmother who starts the fair that they're talking about.
The steam fair, the most exciting fair in all the land.
Yeah, no fair like a steam fair. That's what they say. Makes like a pop-up book to sort of remember the city. And it starts off when Paddington's like, wow, this is amazing. And you're taken inside the book and the pages are folding. Oh my
and
goodness.
They're real, but all the other characters that they're walking around are in the book. It's
amazing.
So good.
It's got made as actually a limited collector's item as well, which had pop-up scenes from the movie. Sold very well.
Does it also have clues that take you to a treasure?
Not sure. I'll have to buy a copy.
Yeah, they're not very complicated clues. We'll get there. We'll get there.
But how much does the book cost, though?
I believe it's like 1,000 versions of whatever coin he presents.
1,000 rubles.
Rubles, there you go.
Yep.
That's quite a lot of rubles.
Yeah. He just pulls out the coin that like he had before. It's like
in his ear?
Yeah, you need a lot more of that.
Yeah, and preferably not encrusted with your earwax.
And marmalade.
Oh, is that, you reckon it's marmalade from his ear?
I think it was the same colour. Maybe that's that species of bear. They just have marmalade for earwax.
Yeah, it's true. So he's got to earn some cash, and he starts working at a local hairdresser. Now, we couldn't get through this scene in Film Club without being distracted by your laughter.
I was
howling. You were losing it.
I just thought it was so silly, but hilarious. So like I worked out because there's a few scenes and a few parts of this movie that feel like we're starting a new Paddington book, basically. Mm-hmm. Like Paddington goes to this, Paddington does that.
Right.
And apparently this is like a Paddington story and it's called Something Off the Top, which is great.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, like the fact that he gets in there, he's immediately started working, he's just sweeping. The shop owner, Giuseppe's gone out for the day and then someone comes in who ends up being the judge.
Yeah.
I'm just here to tidy up. It's like, tidy up's all I need, that's fine. And then Paddington freaks out and he's like, yeah, what could go wrong? Flings the scissors up into the roof and tries to have a crack at shaving his hair.
So good. The vibrating across the floor is incredible.
Some of the best like physical comedy. I was howling with laughter. It was just so funny.
I genuinely was like, are you okay, mate?
Yes, I've never been more okay. I love how good the fur on him looks while
when it's vibrating. Yeah.
And he like mid-spin picks up the phone and is like, hello, welcome to Giuseppe's barbershop. It's so good. It gets caught up in the fan as well while that's happened. Scares off a would-be customer.
Oh, I love that. The family had to say, it's only a haircut, Nelson. There's nothing to be afraid of. And then he smacks into the glass.
Come in, take a seat. It looks like he's about to accidentally shave it off, but like, the cord's run out of length. He's going to be okay.
Thank goodness.
Then he hits the
recliner on the chair.
And leans back in and zoom. Straight up the middle, all the hair's gone. But how else would you fix a haircut like that?
Well, of course, with earwax. I mean, marmalade. It does not fix it. And the judge is not too happy. So he gets fired when his boss comes back.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but that's all right because the Browns and Paddington are off to the local steam fair.
Kozlova's fair.
The coolest place in the world.
Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, look, the coolest part about it for me, also my favourite part of this film, we get to meet Hugh Grant's character.
Phoenix Buchanan.
And he is running circles around everyone in this film. Everyone in this film is great, but he is just on another level.
Just chewing scenery in like the best way possible. Apparently this is Hugh Grant's favourite movie he's ever done.
Rightfully so, because he's awesome in it.
Until we see Heretic. Hopefully that's really good too.
Look, it's not going to be, but I'll still love it, but in a really like cheesy way.
He's just so good.
He is. So
I know you're a big Hugh Grant man. So.
The biggest.
The biggest Hugh Grant man.
Yeah. But he's an actor in this, but has now been recruited for dog food commercials and so his career's gone a little down the tubes, hence being like the celebrity that's coming to promote the Steam Fair.
He's not exactly a S-tier celebrity.
Yeah, but he still acts as if he is like royalty.
So good.
And it's amazing. And so he gets Paddington up on stage. I love it. He's going around the crowd.
Meanie, mighty, bear.
So good. And so he gets up and Paddington goes, oh, now you do the dog food commercials. And he goes, well, a man has to eat. And
What?
Goes, what, dog food? He actually does, though. We see the commercial later and he's dressed like a dog and he eats it.
He's got to.
And then it's like, not for human consumption.
Again, this is sort of like an example of Paddington's naivety, because all of what he's saying, he's not trying to like sort of poke fun at him about like the dog food commercials and saying you were a famous actor. It's because that's what Julie Walters' character says to him.
So while he's there, Paddington actually mentions the pop-up book and we see Hugh is very, very interested.
Interest incredibly peaked.
Yeah, but we don't quite know why for a little bit. But Paddington has to get a second job. And I really, really enjoyed this. So he's a window cleaner. It's a lot more successful than the last one, but...
Not initially.
No, and that part is amazing. He can't pick up the bucket, and the process of him trying to get it up and then like down and falling over.
The pulley system, yeah.
And then eventually like it falling on his head and him just getting caught out the front of the window, going up against it.
With the
Amazing.
hands and then his derriere, which apparently during this scene, that was the director, Paul King, who was doing that, wearing the CGI suit and stuff like that.
I adore that.
So it's pretty funny.
That's amazing. But it does go better and he starts to earn a little money. He also helps out the neighborhood.
Yeah, he starts to sort of meet a lot more of the neighbors. Really love Peter Capaldi as Mr. Curry. He's really, really good.
He's a jerk and a half.
He's very good at playing a jerk.
Yeah, he is.
And Ben Miller as the Colonel. Boff from Johnny English.
I said the exact same thing.
That's the only thing I know him from.
Yeah, but you also got Jessica Hines at the newspaper stand. So,
is she from?
did you ever watch Spaced, the Edgar Wright series?
No, but I know it, yeah.
Yeah, well, she's also in Shaun of the Dead when they're walking down. They have like a crossover in the alleyway. She's leading the other troop because they're the two characters from Space.
Oh, I love that. That's good.
Yeah, but she's great. She's really, really good. I love how Paddington inadvertently gets them together just by cleaning the window. It's really good, positive vibes. Even this Colonel, who seems like he's going to be a real grumpy character, very quickly comes around.
Yeah. Someone's doing something for him. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, the car. Yes, we are going in the car. I'm just thinking of Johnny English now. Such a good film. We should do that for this.
We should. We should do that for Film Club.
One at a time. But he even ends up window cleaning Mr. Brown's skyscraper. I don't know how he booked that gig.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, of course it is. And then he's like, Mr. Brown turns around and is like, hang on a second.
And there's a band. Is this a make-believe band? Because they're in the prison later on as well.
They just teleport everywhere.
I love it. I think it's great. He's earning a lot of money. He's so close. It's probably the night before
he's 1 day away.
1 day away. There you go. So he's about to get the book, but unfortunately, as he's going past the old antique store, there is a break-in. And again, because of his naivety, when he hears that there's a break-in, yeah, he thinks it's Mr. Gruber climbing through the top window of his own store.
That's how he always gets in there.
He even goes in there. He's like, "You're not Mr. Gruber." It's like, oh, come on, Paddington.
Of course it's not.
Wise up. But he ends up pursuing him on foot at first.
But then on an additional 4 feet.
On Wolfie.
The dog from Terminator 2.
Is Wolfie okay? I can hear him barking.
Yeah, Wolfie's fine.
Your parents are
dead.
dead.
Didn't think we'd get a Terminator 2 Judgment Day reference today, but hey.
There's always room. This is probably a good point to mention. Why is it that geese, silly geese,
yeah,
and Wolfie and dogs and stuff like that are regular, while bears, they can chat?
Because Wolfie and the geese aren't from Peru, obviously.
The magical land
of Peru.
The magical land of Peruvia.
Well, they all grow up on the streets of Peruvian New Jersey. So you learn to talk. You get street smarts.
Street smarts in Peruvia.
You're able to talk to anyone you want to. Geese, bears, people.
Aunt Lucy.
Pastuzza.
I'm Uncle Pastuzza. So anyway, this is a good sequence. I like this little chase. Like, there's lots of little whimsical chases and things like that.
So much whimsy.
So much whimsy. But
It's off the charts.
unfortunately, as part of this whimsical chase, a cop does see Paddington fleeing from the scene of the crime.
He's the prime suspect.
He is the prime suspect because the robber disappears in a literal puff of smoke.
Incredible.
He's like, he was right here, and he disappeared in a puff of smoke.
Well, yes.
It's like, geez, you don't have to be so sarcastic.
It's like he did. He did. He must be a really theatrical man, and well, he is because the disguise is taken off, and who could it be but Phoenix Buchanan?
It is brilliant. So it's his attic space in his apartment, and he's got all these mannequins that he sort of performs for, but performs as well.
He's
it's
like talking
they're
to
his
them.
audience, and he's talking to them. But then he does their voices as well. And I love he puts on all the voices. Like, he does a Scottish accent for Macbeth, a French accent for Poirot. This is a really good example of how this film doesn't just cater to children. How are kids going to get a reference to Poirot? It's so good. I loved it. I really, really loved it. He gets away with it for the time being, at least. But I do still think that it's a bit of a flawed justice system. I mean, he didn't even have any stolen merch on him. What do they got to pin him?
Exactly.
He was running nearby.
Yep, he was seen at the scene of the crime.
This is when I didn't like Peter Capaldi, because he gives that self-righteous speech. We opened our hearts to that bear. We opened our doors.
Yep, and that's how he repaid him, by not breaking into the antique store and not taking anything.
That son of a...
Because isn't Peter Capaldi's character like more of an antagonist, I think, in the first film?
Possibly.
I think so.
Again, I don't really remember.
That's
I couldn't even remember if he was actually supposed to be law enforcement or just a crazy old man. Because I'm pretty sure the colonel says something about, are you just wearing a yellow vest?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes. But that's okay, because Paddington goes to court.
But it's not okay.
No, it's okay when we realise who the forensic investigator is. It's Richard Ayoade!
Coming in and talking
So
about
good.
marmalade.
Paw prints were found here. Is this the same marmalade? It is. Another really good British actor, particularly in like the world of comedy. He's in there for about a minute and then gone. And I'm like,
great.
perfect use of Richard Ayoade.
It is really good. But unfortunately, he's not the only person to appear at the trial. So the judge is the person that Paddington gave a bad haircut to. And as a result, he's really going to hold that against him.
Yeah. I mean, mistakes happen with haircuts. It's fine. He's wearing a wig anyway to cover it up. Do you wear wigs?
Wigs? Is that the sassy German? He's back?
No.
Do you wear wigs?
Have you not seen that interview between Dominic Monaghan and Elijah Wood for Lord of the Rings?
No.
You just put that in there. That's fine. It's all
Look,
good.
any excuse to bring up a sassy German.
It's pretty funny. A known sassy German, Dominic Monaghan.
Yeah.
In the photo shoots you do with Vogue magazine, your hair changes dramatically from short to long. Do you wear wigs?
No, I do not.
Have you worn wigs?
No, I have not.
Will you wear wigs?
Maybe.
When will you wear wigs?
But then Phoenix comes up to take the sand and they ask him, is like, do you swear to tell the truth? And like, may my entrails be plucked forth and wound about my neck, should I deceive? I do. And I'm like, yeah.
It's so good. And everyone is loving how charming he is on the stand.
Yeah, there's just like, so have you ever been to prison? I was like, well, I did 3 years in Les Mis.
But with his testimony as well, unfortunately, Paddington is sent to prison. I like that when he first goes to prison, he's still looking on the bright side at that stage.
The way he's describing it to Aunt Lucy as well. It's very secure.
Yeah, look, it's good. I love it. So we cut to the break-in to the Tower of London. And I love this because he's wearing like the fake knight's suit. But then when he lifts up the helmet, he's wearing a fake mustache as well. Just a completely unnecessary detail, but so
He's
good.
committed. Phoenix is committed.
He is. He is committed. When he finds a letter on the top of London Bridge.
Nice.
Yes, we got there. We did. Woo!
But yeah, like Phoenix is looking for why he was so interested in the book is because there's clues for a treasure, you know, using his acting ability to disguise himself and infiltrate certain places.
Back in prison, Paddington's on washing duty.
Yeah.
And I love it. The red sock is entered into the mix and we know immediately where it's going to go. He doesn't intend to put it in. There's not naivety in that moment. It just gets stuck on top of his hat.
He's like, oh, no.
Yeah, but then he's like, it's just one red sock. What could happen?
Smash cut.
It's such a good cut to everyone wearing a pink uniform. I mean, it does
pretty cool.
It looks really good. I mean, the prison looks beautiful color-wise.
It really does.
The prison sequence is the section, especially when they're escaping, where I was like, this just looks like a Wes Anderson film.
It's very, very true. But yeah, setting up for the meal, that's what sort of kicks off. And then Paddington doesn't really like the food option that he's got.
No, so he goes and...
What's he going to do?
He goes and complains to old Knuckles McGinty, the best name in the world.
Knuckles McGinty.
So good.
Who could it be but Brendan Gleeson?
He's great in this.
Yeah.
I love the line he says, nobody bops me on the head with a baguette.
And then Paddington's like, right, no bonking.
No bonking.
They sort of like set it up like he's a really dangerous part of the prison. And then when Paddington accidentally squirts ketchup on it and then tries to get it off with mustard, the guard's like, forget the medic, send a priest.
It's good. Very, very good. But in the scuffle, Paddington...
changes his life.
Changes his life, you'd say, with the marmalade sandwich. Yeah, it is
pretty much.
It's a revelation of sorts, hey. He kind of realizes, all right, I'm going to recruit Paddington to start helping me in the kitchen. He's under my protection.
I don't do nothing for no one for nothing. Beg your pardon?
Yeah. The classic Paddington line. Beg your pardon?
We'll get there. It'll come back around when you least expect it.
Just remember it. Remember, beg your pardon. Oh, my goodness. So it cuts across back to the Brown family. Mrs. Brown has taken charge on the investigation now.
She's killing it.
And she realizes it's quite a leap in logic. She's correct, but it's still quite a leap in logic. She realizes that the pop-up book that's been stolen must have some sort of secret, and therefore it must have clues that lead to a treasure.
Yeah, she does make a bit of a jump. It's like, oh, he specifically stole the book and went past a lot of other more valuable items.
The Tale of the Flying Swan. Do you know the tale? I thought you might have written it.
No, I didn't. Is that also a gap for your notes as well?
Yeah. Basically, the Tale of the Flying Swan, where after a trapeze artist is injured, it's revealed that she had left clues to her great fortune.
Yes.
But this is all information we knew.
Exactly. All off the top of the dome. It turns out that there is a familial connection that we have, and that's the grandfather of Phoenix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's how he knew all about the book. Yep. But I love this moment too, because I think they're back at the Brown household, which was what my house was called growing up. She's like, what happened to the man I married? Oh,
flashback.
He's gone. And then we get a flashback to Bullseye Brown.
With Daddy Cool.
Daddy Cool. It's amazing. The wig that he's wearing.
She's crazy like a fool. What about Daddy Cool?
It's so good.
It's like, where did this come from? I love this.
Well, again, like all the stuff that's established in the opening with the family, this is foreshadowing to something he's able to do at the end of the film. It's like, remember every skill we established they had? We're going to use them all in about
just remember,
30
keep
seconds.
them in there. Just like beg your pardon, keep it in the brain.
Keep it in there. Sorry, beg your pardon?
Keep it in the brain.
Okay, gotcha. That Daddy Cool flashback is amazing.
Very, very good.
So we get the next break-in, and it's old Sister Isabella, the nun at St. Paul's Cathedral. And I love how this story is told. Like, we see him in there as the nun, and then the story is told to us later by the guard that caught him while he was there.
That guard is so funny.
He's the one from Bush.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
at one point, he kind of subs in and replaces one of the main characters as like a lookalike for him. But his delivery is amazing here.
An unusually attractive nun.
Unusually attractive, so good. Hold it there, sister. You're not going anywhere. All right, spin it around. Like, just everything he is saying is so, so good.
He like yells out, "Stop that stunning sister!" Apparently, this is Hugh Grant's favorite of like the costume changes as well.
Of course. Why wouldn't it be?
Why wouldn't it be?
He rocks it. He's a stunning sister.
Literally.
We cut back to Paddington in prison. He's given old McGinty a hard stare because McGinty's just being rude about
Aunt Lucy.
Aunt Lucy.
Say what you want, but just don't have a go at my Aunt Lucy.
giving him the hard stare is how they end up bonding and becoming good pals.
I know. He's like terrified of Paddington for a second. I was like, is Paddington going to rip his face off?
I mean, bears do that.
And it's like, what was that? It's like, that was what my Aunt Lucy would say is a hard stare. You give those to people who aren't being nice.
I like all of the like life lessons that Aunt Lucy is giving. It hasn't really prepared Paddington very well for life at all.
No, it's like use a cake fork.
Yeah. Ah, well. But they decide to make marmalade as a team. And I love the look of Brendan Gleeson just squeezing the oranges and all the juice coming out.
It's just like, you've got great orange squeezes. And he's like, I do. And then it's just bang, squeeze, bang,
No one's ever told him he had value before.
No, orange squeezes.
Are they going to like the food that I've prepared? Now that I've finally put some effort into something I want to be liked. And they do like it.
Get a standing ovation.
Well, he gets a standing ovation, but they want some pudding. So they're like, well, we can't do that, but maybe if we all work as a team, and they become just a baking floral prison.
Yeah, the T-Bone says I can make a strawberry panna cotta with a pomegranate glaze.
Oh, goodness.
And I'm like, go off, King, let's go.
It's just a prison full of chefs and horticulturals.
And then it just becomes like a cafe, basically.
I love it. I don't know how one leads to the other. So, all right, cool. Well, some of the men are baking now and flowers are everywhere. And the band is back, of course.
And the band's back. Where else would they be?
Well, washing windows,
in our
I guess.
heads, that's probably. And then it ends with the Warden
reading bedtime stories. So good.
Yeah.
So good. The Browns come to visit him in prison, and they're just idiots. They think that the criminal is a gang of criminals because he looks ever so slightly different. They've got images of the three of them. They're clearly look identical. Oh, so good. He introduces each of them one by one, and they just keep popping out. It's so good.
And then Mr. Brown insults them all, but doesn't realise the fact that he's merely turned the lights off the microphone.
Yeah, and especially because he's insulting them for not being intelligent, and then he makes a dumb move.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some good characters in here. The one I really liked was Johnny Cash Boy. Ka-ching!
Incredible.
Oh dear. We see Hugh Grant has his own headshots on his piano.
So good.
I loved it.
Mrs. Brown gets invited in to talk about the case.
Yeah, basically wants to know how much they know.
But he's an idiot.
Yes, but I love how he's like, oh, it's so disappointing about Paddington. But in lighter news, I might be fingers, getting the funding for my show. Like, the fact that he just adds all these little whimsical moments in, especially fingers. That was so funny. Might be coming through for my one-man show, and then he sings a little part of his show. It's so good.
Basically, he kind of trips himself up because he's talking about the dazzling blue eyes of this criminal. And it's like, well, how do you know about the colour of the eyes?
Yeah, the paper's in black and white.
Exactly.
It was merely a grey lead sketch.
And then a little quick sort of transitions between the sketches over Phoenix's face.
Oh, how good does that look?
I thought it was cool. And then basically Mrs. Brown realised the jig's up and knows it's Phoenix.
Yeah, finally. They need evidence.
They do. And so they have to, they set up a bit of a plan.
Sting. Well, the children trick him into leaving the house by going to his publisher and recording her talking about an interview that she has and then playing it back over the phone.
So good.
And unfortunately, one of the things that she did say, because they brought treats with them.
Joanna Lumley.
Yeah, she from Absolutely Fabulous.
And James and the Giant Peach, which is incredibly terrifying.
So good.
Felicity Fanshawe.
But she says it about 10 times. She's like, nice buns. Really nice buns.
And then when Phoenix replies, it's like,
He's like, oh, thank you, darling. I've never had any complaints about Mr. and Mrs. Bodycheek. So good. So good. Yeah.
But basically, while Phoenix is out of the house, Mrs. Brown then breaks in. It's
a very elaborate plan.
It is. They've done really well. They've done really well.
I meant needlessly elaborate.
No, I think it's like it's just the right amount of elaborate. Breaks in and is trying to look for clues and see sort of what's going on.
Mr. Brown sees her and then comes in. He's like, "What are you doing?" I love when they find the attic and she's like, oh, "Secret room. It's an attic. Secret attic. It's an ordinary attic."
And then sees all of the costumes and all of the mannequins. He must be a madman, basically.
Oh, my goodness.
And then
they get caught.
They do. Phoenix is back, and they try to hide away. And then eventually,
Mr. Brown playing coy.
He's like, Henry,
I love when he's playing Corey and he's just like, oh, well, there's your insurance provider. I have to come in and do a service of the house.
In your pajamas. Yes.
Yes. With your wife and just pulls open the curtains. So good.
Sometimes I bring her along. They get out. Phoenix goes upstairs to immediately check that the book hasn't been taken. It hasn't. It kind of works out that the letters aren't like a word. They're musical notes. Mm-hmm. And he's going to play them at the Coslow Fair.
And it is good news that the Browns have worked out what's going on, but because they've been spending all this time in the investigation...
What have they missed?
They forget it's visiting day, and they don't actually go in to visit Paddington, and this is sad.
Because it sort of ties back in with the conversation that Knuckles is having with Paddington through the pipes in the prison, saying that, you know, he's saying, like, because they basically telling him is like, if you want to get out, we can kind of help you. He's like, no, my family.
What they really mean is you can help us.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The Browns are going to help me. It's just like, the reality is they're going to forget about you. Like, I'm really sorry about this, but it's going to happen.
That's because McGinty has never known love.
This is true. But yeah, you get to this sort of scene where Paddington, like, you see sort of the lights change and eventually turn off and on and off and on. And he's just still sitting there waiting at the booth.
2 extra cruel things in this. Why would you send him in to the room if no one was there to see you? And also, while he's in there, why would you turn off all the lights? Really emphasize, no one's coming.
No one loves you, mate. Sorry.
Sorry.
And then, yeah, he's sitting bedside looking at the portrait that he's in, and then he's imagining himself disappearing from it. He's crying. It's heartbreaking.
It is really sad, that moment. So he does decide to break out with old Knuckles and a couple of the others who claim that they will clear his name or help him clear his name.
It's pretty fun.
The model of the prison, it's in the warden's office. It's a model and it opens up and then we actually see them through. Oh, it's so good. It's like a little dollhouse escape.
It is. And then he kind of like Paddington, like when he goes upstairs, it's like with the winding around the clock is.
But that's what they need him for because no one else could have done that bit.
Very... because they talk about the fact that this movie's got like a lot of Charlie Chaplin kind of energy at times.
Oh, yeah.
And this is like a bit of a tie in to modern times when Charlie Chaplin does something similar. And even Paddington has a bit of grease on his upper brow and like wipes it off like a mustache, which I think was a pretty cool little nod.
But yeah, it's just so well directed and choreographed. Like everything's in sync here. This was the part, as I said earlier, like in particular, I was like, this is a Wes Anderson film. What's going on here?
They escape on the balloon and, Paddington thinks, great, I can clear my name now. But Knuckles and the gang have other ideas. They want to leave the country.
Filthy liars. Yeah, they just used him so that they could get out, and now they are getting all the way out. But Paddington's not going with them. He's staying behind. And this part, again, is super sad. Because he goes to the phone booth, he calls home, and they're not even there to answer it, and you think they don't care. As he gets off the phone, they immediately call back, and he goes back and picks it up. So
it's very wholesome.
I think they probably guessed that kids will be too sad if we let this play out any longer.
Yeah, it's just a little dose of sadness, and they'll take it away.
Yeah, it's happy. It's happy. But they tell him everything. Who has done this to him? They figure out where they can all meet to clear his name. And it was going to be at the old steam fair, but they're packing up. So they have to meet at the station so that they can jump on the train.
At Paddington Station.
The station.
And how else does he get there? By the help of the garbage truck driver.
Who he helped pass
study for his exam. Yeah. Pretty good.
I like that when the Browns are going there, Mr. Brown gives this big speech to put, what's Grumpelstiltskin's name? Mr.
Curry?
Curry.
The standoff in the street.
Yeah.
But he can't start the car.
But he gives this massive inspirational speech and then the car stalls immediately afterwards. I love that kind of humor.
Yeah.
The whole neighborhood then comes out and fully supports him and it's really good. There's this sense of camaraderie. It's very Spider-Man. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
It's the Peruvian dressing their back.
That's it. So Paddington Station. Stay low and remember you're a bin. I'm quite good at being a bin. I love that. When the cop just shrugs off. So good. Again, that naivety where he's like, I'm a bin, nothing to see here. Amazing. So he makes it to the train, but unfortunately the Browns do not, and they have to commandeer another train.
Whose skills are going to come in handy?
J-Dog.
No, it's not anymore. My name's not J-Dog. I'm Jonathan Brown, and I like steam trains.
Yeah,
like,
he does.
yeah!
We all stood up at that point.
Woo! Good.
Woo, woo. We all said for Jonathan Brown, the steam train driver.
Toby Maguire, like steam train.
We all did a Thomas the Tank Engine shake. Anyway, but who should be on the train that they're trying to commandeer but the judge?
Of course he is. Where else would he be?
This is his best moment. I love his relationship with his wife. Don't shush me, Gertrude. I've just been spilt upon by chilled liquid.
I hate getting spilled upon by chilled liquid. It's the worst.
Oh my God.
But this is kind of like where all the skills of the family start to play into things a little bit. Phoenix has got aboard and he's trying to access the carousel.
I love it. He's not even trying with that bald cap anymore. It's basically just sitting atop his head, the little flap bits on the side.
Pretty good. Pretty good. While he's trying to do that, there's
Mr. Brown has to kind of make his way from one train to the next.
How can you do that?
Well, if you open your mind, your legs will follow.
With the power of acrobatics.
Acrobatics.
It was probably too far apart at one stage.
Yeah.
I was just like, damn, fair effort. Well done, Hugh Bonneville. You're crushing this.
Well, it's got acrobatics.
He does. And
sorry, I don't know why I'm saying it like Jack Black. It's like Jack Robatics.
Jack Black Robatics.
Jack Robatics.
Jesus. Yeah, that was one actress who was missing in this movie. Kate Blanchett.
Yes.
No, Kate Winslet. Anyway, Paddington uses toffee apples to walk across the top of the train.
Which
to
he
brace
has?
himself against the wind. Oh, because they're on the...
Oh, they're on like a...
They're on the train, of course. Where else would they be?
I was going to say that it's a circus train, but it's not. It's a steam engine carnival.
Feels like I'm watching the start of The Last Crusade.
Yeah. And this is how we learn how Paddington gets all of his
red hat, his blue duffel coat.
To be honest, I'm pretty sure we do learn that in Paddington 1.
Incredible.
Yeah.
On a train as well.
Yeah. And then he whips and gets the card on his chin.
That's where he gets his wellies, having to walk through the water.
His fear of snakes. It's all there. I love this part where Hugh Grant, he says to him, exit bear pursued by a man, which is a play on Exit Pursued by a Bear from A Winter's Tale, the Shakespeare.
Oh, cool.
But that's actually one of the few Shakespeares I haven't read.
But you just know the reference?
I know it because it's just such a 6 degrees of separation. I know it because of in The World's End, the Edgar Wright film. He's like, let's boo-boo. He's like, you don't remember that? It's when we're doing The Winter's Tale. So you used to say exit pursued by a bear, and then we used to say exit pursued by Yogi Bear, then we used to say let's Yogi and boo-boo, and then let's boo-boo.
So good. Good reference. Good references. Everyone knows your references are out of control.
Oh, they are.
Sick reference, though, bro.
Oh, thanks, bud.
Dude, your references are out of control. Everyone knows that.
Basically, his stomach gets the best of him because he wants to eat the toffee apple.
Oh, yeah.
And that reveals himself to Phoenix, who's been able to, it looks great with the musical notes and it opens up into the treasure. It's all gold, and it's all shimmering, it's all fantastic. He's going to take it, but then gets the book and he can't remember the sequence.
Which is ridiculous because it was 3 letters. And when you press the right one, it makes like a ding kind of sound. When you press the wrong one, it makes like a bum bum. So just do it until it dings.
Exactly. Do it until it dings.
You know that old slogan? It's part of our merchandise. We got the 5th period t-shirt. Do it until it dings.
Literally. And then, Phoenix sort of gives chase, but accidentally falls into the carriage where Mr.
Snakes
Brown...
are, and that's where he gets
the
his fear
snakes,
of
Mr. Brown, Mr. Bird and Julie. That's what they named the snakes in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Everybody knows that. But Mrs. Bird is like, you shouldn't bring a sword to a gunfight. It's like, it just fires plastic darts and then just shoots him in the head with a plastic dart.
Yeah, and you notice she goes, so it does afterwards. So she was fully prepared to just shoot him in the head.
100%.
Classic Molly. She should have said, get away from my Paddington, you bitch.
It sounded like Jack Black again.
You bitch. Get away from Kate Blanchett, you bitch.
Oh, dear. But they're in trouble basically because they're going against an experienced actor who knows stage combat level 4, ties them up, and Paddington's trying to escape with his window washing ladder, but he can't quite get him to the other train where Mrs. Brown is. So Phoenix gets him back and the book.
That's pretty frustrating, that part, because you're like, just jump, Paddington.
It doesn't. Gets wheeled and reeled back in, and then Phoenix is basically going to leave him to his doom. Uncouples the cars and lets him go. So see you later.
And off the tracks he goes and into the water.
Yes, but meanwhile, Phoenix gets papped by Julie, who's ready with her camera.
Papped?
Yeah, like papped, like paparazzi'd, like papped.
Ah, I think you meant like smear, pap smear.
Not quite.
Yeah. Open your mind and your legs will follow.
Exactly. Oh, he's on one today. He's on one today. That's a knockout from Mr. Brown. Speaking of knockouts by Mr. Brown.
Oh my God, who is it? But what was his name? Bullseye Brown.
Bullseye. And
he's crazy like a fool.
It's Bullseye Brown.
What about Daddy Cool? Smack to the head. And I was with Maddie and a friend of ours, Sarah, and we were commenting on, thank goodness he fell forward. Imagine if he'd just fallen out the back of the train with that.
Oh, you're dead.
Oh, Bullseye Brown. Dang, you're dead.
Yeah, with the baseball. Just Jonah Hill with the baseball. Throwing it around the party. Bang, you're dead. Yeah. Bang, you're dead. It's fine. But yeah, as you previously mentioned, Paddington goes flying into the water in the train, and it's a good thing that one of the family's been training to swim a great distance, because Mrs. Brown dives in to save him.
She sure does. And this my goodness, was this shape of water, and so sad too.
Yeah, I was like, it's basically Paddington's resigned to like, I'm done. What? This is a bit full on for a family movie, and it's quite emotional, like just the little paw sort of like holding out.
When did I stop watching Paddington 2 and put on Toy Story 3?
Legit. It's very, very sad, but very similar to Toy Story 3. Not quite the sadness that does not happen, because who's going to save the day but Knuckles?
Just like in Toy Story 3.
Yes, Brendan Gleeson comes to save the day. Knuckles uses his strength.
He's got those orange squeezing arms.
He does, and that's it. All safe. Paddington's fine. Phoenix gets arrested. I'm really glad the next part of the film doesn't go on too long, because goddamn, this is emotional how the film ends.
Oh, isn't it?
I was
This
like,
is sadder than him potentially dying.
well, not sadder, but like just like, oh, it just got me. Like,
It gets you in the field.
this is like when I was watching A Memoir of a Snail. Very similar kind of like uplifting finish, but it's like so powerful. The fact that
the book gets taken in for evidence.
And Paddington realised it's been a few days later, and was like, that means, yes, it's Aunt Lucy's birthday, and he doesn't have a present for her. But the neighbours have all got around him, and they've chipped in, called in a few favours. The Colonel's called in a few Air Force buddies, and they just say, hey, you know, Mike, going to go see who's at the door. And it's Aunt Lucy. There was some tears at this point. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah.
And then it finishes, and that's it.
Yeah. And it finishes very much like Beetlejuice, with Sheikh Sinora playing over the credit.
Yes, exactly. Of course.
Very, very topical at this point.
True. Very, very true. But yeah, that's how the movie finishes. Then you get credits and you sort of get a bit of an epilogue on what's happening with all the characters. I love that Knuckles and the others are pardoned and they open a sandwich shop called Knuckles Sandwich, which is incredible.
Very good.
And Phoenix is sentenced to 10 years jail, but they cut to 6 months.
He doesn't care.
Because 6 months later, what's he doing, Mr. Brown?
Well, it's very much like the producers. He's putting on his one-man show, but it's no longer a one-man show. He's doing it with all the inmates at prison. And my God, I got to put in the voice clip of the song as he's coming down the stairs.
Pity Patty or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Listen to the rain on the roof go. Pit, pitty, pat, pit, pitty, pat, pitty.
But yeah, I had a blast with this one. You had a blast with it, I can see. This is the most notes you've ever written.
It is. And I gave this 5 stars on my letterbox last night. I immediately reviewed it. The movie hasn't made me feel as much as like this film has in a while. And it's just perfect. They make jokes about this film in the really long film title that I can't remember right now. That's, I think, the name of the movie with Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
That's the one, thank you.
And yeah, they talk about how good this film is.
Yeah, like, oh, what's my favourite
film?
movie? And I can't remember what the first one is, but it's like a very standard response. And Paddington 2. And Nick Cage is like, what? And then they watch it and it's like, yep, you're right. That's incredible. And really that's how I felt about it. And I was like, wow, like, because this is a movie that gets like hyped up. One of, if not the highest Rotten Tomatoes score ever. In terms of like,
You say tomato, I say tomato.
No, that's it. Ketchup.
Let's call the
ketchup,
whole thing
catsup. It has like no negative reviews. And this is like this movie. It's like just pure feel-good happiness. You're smiling at so much your cheeks hurt. This is as close to a perfect film that I've seen in a really long time.
I'm sorry, I was distracted. When you said your cheeks hurt, all I could think of was Mr. and Mrs. Body Cheek.
Oh dear.
Oh, so good. So good.
Dear.
So we're going to give a big thank you to Zachary for suggesting it and campaigning hard for it. Anytime it wasn't
Free
picked,
Paddington. Hashtag Free Paddington.
Free Paddington. Justice for Paddington. He shouted from the rooftops. Fortunately, there has been justice for Paddington, and I hope he's thrilled to hear how much we enjoyed it. I mean, it was a rewatch for me, but I loved it the first time, and I think I appreciated it even more this time. I watched them as a double feature the first time I watched it. And perhaps there was a little too much Paddington for the second one. So
Too Paddington, Too Furious.
That's it. That's what they say.
No, I think this is, as considering this has been my first watch of this movie, I look forward to adding this to my movies of like comfort food that sometimes you need a movie to chuck on when you want to feel good. This is that movie.
Absolutely. So thanks heaps for that, Zachary. And thanks again to Mark for his intro for today. Alrighty, shall we move on to weekly watches?
We shall.
Weekly watches, weekly watches up,
All right, I'm going to kick things off with Apartment 7A. So it is a prequel to Rosemary's Baby. We talked about it, I don't know if it was for a trailer, was it a Tantalising Trailer?
Yes.
And I was saying, it's giving me real Rosemary's Baby vibes. And you looked it up and went, that's because it is a prequel to it. Not only is it a prequel, the character that it focuses on is in Rosemary's Baby. So there is actually a crossover between the two films. I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to say too much because I know you're probably going to watch it as well. You're a big Rosemary's Baby fan yourself.
Big Julia Garner fan too.
She was great in it. She was really, really good. I love her in Ozark. We talked about her in the Royal Hotel as well. She's doing good things for horror cinema. And she was great in this. She played the role incredibly well. I messaged you after I watched it and I said, the funny thing about it, like I really enjoyed it, but the funny thing about it was it feels less like a prequel and more like sort of a remake or a reimagining. No, a requel's like a sequel, but kind of the same thing. But it felt like so many of the plot points were the same as Rosemary's Baby.
Okay.
And there's a very good reason why. The fact that the two characters cross over means that both of these films take place in a very short space of time. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the other characters in the films crop up between the two. So that kind of explains why there would be a lot of repetition in that. But to me, that repetition didn't take away from the film. Like, it was cool to see it with a new take on it, or how would someone else react if they were put in the same sort of situation as Rosemary was before Rosemary was. So yeah, it was really cool. And the fact that she is a performer made for some really cool elements. So she performs in musical theater, and so some of the darkest moments in the film are told through a musical number. Cool. And it's real creepy. Like it's very dark themes, but like this whimsical number that turns, and yeah.
I like the sound of that.
Highly encourage you to watch it because it was very good.
Very keen. I mean, it's prime time. This is my favourite time of the year. We're into peak spooky season.
Spooky season, as James would say on the Weekly Planet podcast. It's the spookiest time of year, and he's not talking about tax time.
Good. Very good. I watch horror movies all the time, but I've really ramped things up, and I try to almost knock over one a day, basically, during this time. So there's a lot that I could have talked about, but I wanted to talk about a couple of films are a little bit more sort of like under the radar, and that is In a Violent Nature.
Okay.
It's a slasher, a mute killer who's been sort of resurrected, comes out of the ground, very typical sort of stuff, but it's from the killer's perspective.
Yeah. So did you say this was a rewatch or...
No, this is a first time watch.
Yeah.
So directed by Chris Nash, came out this year as a Shudder exclusive. Mm-hmm. Very much like a Jason Voorhees sort of vibe. Mm-hmm. Eventually, he's like a scarred sort of character and a bit grotesque. Eventually gets like a cool mask, It's mostly from his perspective, and there's a real kind of grounded sort of realism to this film that makes it a lot more visceral. The fact that there's like an absence quite a lot of the time of sound, and a lot of it's just kind of the natural sounds that are in the Canadian forest is really interesting. It's there's got some legitimately some of the most brutal kills I've ever seen in a horror movie. Yeah, One in particular comes to mind, and it's like, oh jeez, and it happens, and it's like it's pretty nuts. It's gnarly. I thought it was a really sort of unique kind of film, very different from the slashers that you typically get. I still like a typical slasher, don't get me wrong, but I thought this was just different enough to enjoy.
Do you think that the gimmick kind of wears off?
Thankfully, this is not a super long film, because otherwise I think it would. It's pretty much all from the killer's perspective, but there's enough sort of scenes that kind of aren't, that you kind of get a little bit more time with the characters who aren't like amazing, and you're pretty keen to see a few of them die, which is
a staple of the genre.
Exactly.
Right?
But the final girl's solid, and I just like the fact that that sort of happens from a different perspective. It sort of humanizes the character a little bit. But yeah, it's just interesting. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, cool. Next up for me, I'm going to talk Speak No Evil. So you've seen Speak No Evil as well?
I didn't think we were supposed to speak about it.
No, the movie's not evil.
Okay.
The movie was good.
Let's talk about it.
We can speak some good.
We can speak all good.
Speak all good. That's it.
Enjoyed it, yeah.
I really enjoyed it too. The way that I've described it to people is, if you've seen a trailer for it or any film that's in this style, there's no surprises. It plays out like a lot of thrillers in this vein do, but I'm okay with that. Like, I like a lot of films that are similar to this, and the thing that for me made this one so compelling was James McAvoy's performance.
He's incredible. Just incredible.
Off the chain.
I just keep seeing him in more horror movies. Like between this and, you know, how phenomenal he was in Split, he's just fantastic in it. I'm really interested now to go see the original film, which I believe is a Danish film. What the differences are and the similarities. But yeah, I agree. Like, McAvoy really carries this movie. I think there's really good acting performances across the board, I think. But
yeah, I loved the dysfunction between the other couple as well. I think that really helped. Again, a fairly common element of this genre and horror in general too. A bit of dysfunction in a family, and then some sort of a traumatic incident kind of brings them together.
Yeah.
But the thing that was so good about it was how it built tension. And the idea that you know something bad is going to happen, but it would like build right up to it and then pare it right back again, and like almost give justification for why the characters are acting weird or said something strange or did something strange, so that you can be like, okay, I guess it's all right. And we as an audience go, it's not all right, but you do start to think, well, if I was in this situation and someone had like a bit of an outburst, you might be like, okay, well, that was a bit weird, but I guess
I think we can let it slide a little bit, and then it sort of gets to the point where, like you said, like the trailer gives you every indication of where the film's going, and we know as an audience member where it's going, but the fact that the ride to get there is so tense, and it is that sort of thing of bringing you up and then sort of taking it back and then bring it up, and it's just like, when is it going to explode? And then when it eventually does, it's really cool. So, I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it.
Nice.
My other horror film was When Evil Lurks. It came out last year. It's an Argentinian horror film. It's like a demon possession movie, but it's a bit different. So like two brothers find this eviscerated corpse outside their farm, and then they find like a nearby shack who's housing a family, and one of the brothers of this family is essentially possessed by a demon called a rotten, that he's like grotesquely quite large. The practical effects when you like discover him are like disgustingly good.
Awesome. Disgustingly good.
Because he's disgusting to look at. It's like, this is
I thought you meant like the level of how good it is disgusting.
Both apply.
You're just like, you have no right to be this good.
I mean, the practical effects are sort of like that. You filthy practical effects people, which we know I love. But basically what they need to do is like, so they work out that the dead body that they found is what they call a cleaner, and they're the people who have to kill the demons before it possesses anyone else. There's very specific rules about how you can kill the demon to make it safe, how the demon can affect you and how it can travel and possess. Typically, a lot of like demon possession things are about faith and religion, where this is more about human control. Because a lot of the things they can do to stop this demon, they can do it, but they can't control like their own sort of inhibition to want to do sort of like certain things.
Don't open the cellar door.
Well, that's sort of exactly right. Shot really well, really awesome cinematography. The practical effects are just incredible. They're disgustingly good. Yeah. With some like kills that are just like, oh man, like there's some really like very much like in Violent Nature, really gnarly stuff to look at. Definitely one of the better sort of horror movies I've seen in the spooky season, and one that I'm not sure if everyone, particularly sometimes people don't go out of their way to watch a foreign language film, but I think that people should go out of their way to watch When Evil Lurks.
Yeah, nice. I remember within the last 3 years, I did the 100 films in 31 days for Halloween.
Damn.
And most of them were new watches. Like I was trying to use it as an opportunity to see things I hadn't seen before. If I had like a movie night with a group of people, we'd go a classic. So I did do some rewatches, but most of the time when I was watching them by myself, I was trying to introduce myself to something new. And sometimes they fell a little flat, especially when you're watching so many films in quick succession, and
can blur a bit,
yeah, absolutely, especially if they're the same type of film too. So that can sometimes remove some of your enjoyment, but I think it also helps you identify the really good ones as well. You're like, I've watched about 10 films that were exactly like this, but for some reason this one was really good.
It sticks out 100%.
Yeah. I found the same thing when I was doing some watches over the holidays, because I was watching a lot of John Grisham films and lots of like courtroom dramas and things like that. And it was the same thing. It was like, oh, do I really want to watch another courtroom drama? And then I'd end up watching a good one and be like, oh yeah, that's what I've been
this is a
for.
Courtroom drama.
Yeah. But we're not talking courtroom dramas today. If you want to check out my reviews for those, you can look at my letterbox, and likewise all the films you've seen over the holidays on your letterbox. For now, I'm going to talk Beetlejuice and Beetlejuice. And I'm not going to say it again.
Don't do it.
Not going to say it again. Very, very topical today. We brought it up earlier for Shakes and Horror. We're thinking it'll probably make an appearance in a couple of weeks' time for the spooky season with the film coming out, the sequel coming out. We might do a return to the original. And nothing's locked in yet, but we've been desperately searching for a PG version of it so that we can. But also, I did my class photo today with my year 12s, and we did it in a Beetlejuice theme.
Love that.
Decked out in the wedding getup, the red suit with the ruffles and the bow tie.
Very cool.
Anyway, the movie, very good.
Yeah,
I really
awesome.
enjoyed it. So I have rewatched the original recently. I had forgotten how much I liked this. I knew I liked it, but I've forgotten how much. I think the sequel does a really good job of all your favorite beats of the first one, but a lot of new stuff. I will say, upon reflection, I think it's overstuffed. There's a lot of different plot lines and narratives that intersect, but some of them just don't really go anywhere or pay off. You could probably flesh some more of them out further and go into more detail with that if you just cut some entirely.
Yep, okay.
I didn't really notice it when I was watching it because it's whimsical, it's fun, the practical effects again are good. Keaton, again, he's not overused, but is really, really great anytime he's on screen.
People forget that about the first Beetlejuice film.
That he's not in it that much?
Yeah.
Well, because the times he is in it are so iconic, those are the moments you remember.
Correct.
Winona Ryder was great. Catherine O'Hara was awesome, like off the chains good. It was cool seeing Jenna Ortega in Winona Ryder's daughter's role. I mean, she's just doing what she's doing in everything at the moment. She's like becoming a real screen queen. She's got the Wednesday Addams energy. Willem Dafoe was amazing. I won't, again, you haven't seen it. No, I don't want to talk about spoilers. His character has a very fun detail about it.
Okay.
Monica Bellucci was really good, but there's someone... Justin Theroux. Okay. So Justin Theroux is like this smarmy executive character, and he plays the fake quality of being like really nice so well. Like, you know when someone is so over the top nice that you know they're putting it on as a show?
Yep.
He does that brilliantly throughout. So,
very good.
Yeah, like the others I have praised before for lots of other roles, but Justin Theroux has just such good comedic timing, and he was a surprise delight in this film.
Nice.
Yeah, so Beetlejuice. Have you got another one?
I do have one more, and that is The Cabin in the Woods. I like watching it around Halloween because I'm watching so many scary movies and slashers and all these sort of things. It's nice to watch a movie that just completely unpacks that entire genre and just not trivializes it, but kind of to a degree, yeah.
Well, it's like Scream though too.
Exactly. So it's fun to sort of watch, a horror movie poke fun at the genre, which this film does so well. With the controlled environments and everything kind of being to script a little bit. Obviously, everyone knows the elevator scene when everything gets let out. It's pretty iconic. But there's just really good acting performances in here. Chris Hemsworth, sort of like pre-Thor, having a great time. Very snappy Joss Whedon dialogue, and yeah, just good stuff. So.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it recently. And went into detail about all the things we love, but yeah, a solid watch. Last one that I'm going to mention, and you'll be able to weigh in on this one, Strange Darling.
Yes.
So, came highly recommended from you. I mean, when we both first saw the trailer, we were pretty keen because it's got, what's his name in it?
Carl Gallner, The Flash.
Yeah, he's great in it. So, both Carl Gallner and Willa Fitzgerald are so captivating in this. They are putting in an incredible performance. And look, there's lots of twists and turns in this film, so I don't want to really give too much away because if you really like thrilling, suspenseful films, this is an awesome one. But what I will say about the film and the structure of the film is that it is a non-linear structure. There are 6 chapters to the film, and they are all muddled around. And you kind of learn additional details through each of the chapters that can either provide more information about context of something that's going on or completely flip something on its head. Yes. And that made for a very intriguing watch. So I was excited to see this. Then when I actually sat down to watch it, I was like, oh, maybe I'm not as keen anymore. Like, I think the excitement has kind of dissipated a little bit.
I remembered it was a film that I recommended. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to watch it.
Boylan likes it. Yuck. But then as soon as I put it on, it starts strong and you're like, all right, I'm in. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Such a good looking film too.
It's got a really unique kind of grungy, grindhousey sort of look to it. There's a grain over it. Is it actually shot on film?
Shot on 35, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. In fact, it says that at the start, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Along with something else that it says at the start, which is completely fictional.
Yes.
It's there. I feel it's there merely to trick the audience.
100% with the characters and stuff.
Yeah. But really good. Strange Darling, highly recommend. And the performances and the narrative structure, both are just off the chain. Good.
Go watch it. Yeah, nice one. So we check out some trailers.
Let's do it.
Trailers. Tantalising films. Trailers. Don't know if we will be a fan. How will it be? We'll know in time.
Was that the start of the song?
I was about to start singing what you want.
It's
on me.
Tell me what you want.
Paddington 3.
Nice. Oh my God, so many options for the intro. So much to leave on the category floor. Alrighty, so we were like, which trailer? You doing this trailer? Or are you gonna trailer? And I'm looking at my list that is just like a very lackluster list. But look, I will rattle off a couple of things that I don't really want to talk about in detail, but just because they're topical.
Yes.
Paddington 3. Peruvian Drift. There it is.
There it is.
Paddington 3, Peruvian Drift.
It's not called that, guys.
Yeah, look, they're going to Peru, or Peruvia as it's been known, to visit Aunt Lucy, or Aunt Lucy's gone missing. But I just thought I'd mention it because it's very topical for the day. I wouldn't say like the trailer grabbed me, but just because of how much I enjoyed the rewatch of Paddington 2.
I want more.
I think it's a fun world, and I'm excited to see a bit more of that. But the other really silly thing that I wanted to mention, they're doing like a biopic called Better Man.
Robbie Williams.
Old Robbie boy. Bobby Williams, they call him.
Let me entertain you as a monkey.
Yeah, what a choice. What a choice. And he's narrating the trailer, and he's like, yeah, I've always seen myself as a little bit of a monkey, so that's how they're going to show me in the film. It's like, what?
Why?
I don't understand that. Like, I know biopics of late, especially music biopics, have taken a lot of liberties with the facts, but I'm pretty sure he's not a monkey.
Well, the fact that they're having like that one, and then you've got Piece by Piece coming out, which is the Pharrell Williams biopic, but I should say it's a bio brick because it's all in Lego. It's a Lego movie about Pharrell Williams.
I mean, I feel like that fits him more than the monkey fits Robbie Williams.
I was going to say, like, fair enough. I could deal with, Lego Kendrick Lamar and Lego Snoop Dogg and everything like that. That's going to be fun.
But also, he's got like whimsical, fun songs that are
Pharrell.
Happy, right? You're gonna have some Lego. You're gonna have some Lego, but never have I ever associated
Robbie Williams, monkey.
Old Robbie Bobby Williams with Monkey Man. Monkey Man Williams, they call him.
That's what they do. Monkey Man, the film with Dev Patel. It's actually just Robbie Williams. Robbie Williams. Just coming out out of the elevator and killing people. Just going, let me kill you.
Wild. Anyway, so I just had to bring it up to voice my disgust for the choice.
Jesus.
Yuckers. Anyway, all yours, mate.
Okay. Let's talk about, speaking of disgusting things, let's talk about a Marvel movie. This is actually... Everyone knows that Marvel's skidding a little bit, but this is a movie that I'm pretty keen for, and that is Thunderbolts.
Oh, yeah.
Asterix. Because the asterisk is supposed to say, like, be something.
Yeah, but they have a spoiler review.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what's going to go on, but Thunderbolts in the comic books, they're not this team, but Baron Zemo comes up with a really fun idea to get him and, like, other bad guys to dress up as heroes, and then they try to take the place of the Avengers, and then Zemo wants to be a bad guy, but a lot of them want to be good guys in the end.
Right.
But this is kind of more of, it's got a very Suicide Squad sort of vibe, like, bad guys, but good guys.
Oh, that doesn't bode well.
I should say the Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's better.
The new Black Widow, Yelena Belova, Red Guardian, who's from the Black Widow movie. Ghost, Taskmaster again, who I'm interested to see how she goes, because I didn't really like.
It's just Greg Davis, the Taskmaster from British panel show Taskmaster.
Yeah. US Agent. And then you've got Bucky. And then you also got Bob Reynolds. Basically, Marvel wrote into the comics, made it seem like he'd always been part of Marvel Comics, erased from all the heroes' minds. But
that's a real Buffy storyline right there.
Kind of a little bit like that. So I'm interested to see if they're basically painting him to be the villain of this movie, or potentially there's a larger threat involved. But they're sort of all being orchestrated by Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character. Yeah, I'm just interested to see where this goes. The tone of it's really good.
We're due for a good one.
Overdue, probably, for a good one.
Although Agatha All Along,
it's getting good reviews. So
I've watched like the first 4 episodes. Yeah. I'm enjoying.
Okay, I will get stuck in. It could be a fun way to get people back into liking Marvel movies, because I really like Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova. Is fantastic. Florence Pugh is fantastic. Sebastian Stan's in it, and he's, I think one of the best parts of Marvel. He's crushing things at the moment.
Literally with his hand.
Yes. Cars and the lot. He's got his fun magnet explosive gun back, which is, everyone's been clamoring for. But yeah, I don't know. I think this could be good fun. I'm cautiously optimistic.
Nice. Let's do Cellar Door. Just because I made that joke earlier, so we better give a bit of context to it.
You better.
It's you bet. So Lawrence Fishburne gives away a house. Old fishy burn. That's what they call him.
That's his character in The Matrix.
That's it. Fishy burn. So he gives away a house to a couple who really can't afford it. It's like
why would you do that?
It's a big mansion, and basically he says, I just want to get away from here, but you can't open the cellar. And then
they don't open the cellar.
The classic theme from Trapdoor plays. Don't you open that trapdoor. You're a fool if you dare. Lawrence Fishburne.
That's also Fishburne.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm with you. You just wouldn't open the trapdoor, right?
Credits.
I hypothetically asked everyone in our office today if someone offered you a mansion, but they said you can't open the trapdoor. Or the cellar door. I got Burke feed
Open that cellar door.
It's not as good. And most of us were like, yeah, we would absolutely take that. A couple of people were like, nah, I'd have to open it. No, don't do that.
Just don't do it.
Something bad will happen.
Pretty clear logic.
Exercise some self-restraint, like the people from...
When Evil Lurks.
But
they can't. That's the thing.
Yeah, but we can. Free mansion.
Woo!
So yeah. Look, I don't know if I'm intrigued by it. I'm about as intrigued as I would be by a cellar door I couldn't open. Not very.
Okay. Next one for me is Companion. I enjoyed the setup for this film, how it's like you've got the romantic music and from the studio that brought you The Notebook. And then it's Jack Quaid sitting across.
Oh, this looks great.
Yeah, sitting across from Sophie Thatcher, who is handcuffed to the chair.
Got real The Menu vibes.
Yes, a little, very like kind of, sort of like dark comedy, a little bit unnerving sort of vibes. A lot of really interesting shots, good quick cuts. Perfect for a trailer to hook you in, but not really show you too much.
Oh, but I still felt like we got maybe a little bit too much.
Bits and pieces.
The lighting on fire.
Yeah, that's the last shot of the trailer. I was like, oh, mama. That's a lot. But it's kind of hard to tell, like, who is like the antagonist of this movie, which is good. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I don't know, there was some cool imagery. That last shot with the hand burnt by a candle and stuff, I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And yeah, from the studio that brought you The Notebook and I think the directors or the producers of Barbarian. I love that. That's good.
Barbarian is one of my favorite horrors of the last 5 years. Is it older than 5 years?
No, it's not. No, it came out 3 years ago. Yeah.
Still waiting for that Blu-ray. I'm gonna be waiting a while.
Yeah, I think you will be. Sorry.
Yeah. Last one for me, Juror number 2, trailer number 1. Because it's written with the pound sign.
And we're talking about
the hash sign.
On the period number 5.
Maybe it's called Juror #2, trailer #1.
Thank you.
There it is, the way you prefer it. Because you're such a just social...
I'm a visual learner, otherwise I wouldn't know.
Oh, no, I meant you're a social media guru. You're always on the Twitterverse. It's not even called Twitter anymore.
Exactly. That's good evidence of how with it you are.
Oh, I'm hip. I'm
the X-Men universe. That's what it is.
All the kids are saying to me today, Sir, you're so skibbity and on fleek, they say to me.
So talking about this movie, please.
Juror number 2. So it's got old what's his name?
Nick Holt, isn't it?
Yeah, it is Nicholas Holt. Good get from old what's his name. He's basically a juror on a case, and the trailer presents as he's talking to a psychiatrist or therapist or whatever it is, and he's explaining how one night he might have had a little bit too much to drink, and he drove home and thought he hit something, got out of the car, figured it was a deer and it had kind of run off because nothing was around. Now he is on the jury for a trial, and the person is being charged with the murder of his wife, and they were found in like a ditch over the side of a bridge, which was around the area of the night where he hit something.
Oh.
And it was the same date lining up. So now he's like, uh-oh, I might have done this, and this guy's fate rests in the decision of the jury. So really, really cool idea for a setup.
Like that.
I love Nicholas Holt.
Same.
He's so good. Whether he's not aging over decades in the X-Men universe or being a real foodie in the Menu.
Or going to be Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's good.
I think he'll do pretty well.
I think he will too.
I mean, bring back Michael Rosenbaum, am I right?
#free Rosenbaum.
We need to get Zachary onto the marketing campaign. It looks really good, so I'm keen as mustard.
Nice. My last one is a movie called Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler, who did Black Panther and the Creed films.
It's a reoccurring actor in all of his films.
Yes, and that man is the star of this film. Michael B. Jordan, main man in this film, but he's the main two men because he's playing twin brothers. It's also got Haley Steinfeld and Jack O'Connell from Skins, and he's also in the new Amy Winehouse biopic, which I haven't seen yet. Basically, Michael B. Jordan plays the twin brothers, and they return home, but basically something evil is following them home. They're kind of trapped in like a large hall or church. It sort of looks like a farmhouse, and it's kind of got like a bit of vampire or vampire-ish or vampire-adjacent sort of vibe. So yeah, right. I'm pretty keen to see like Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan in a horror movie. I mean, like that sounds like a good time. I like the setting in 30s Louisiana. Like the film looks gorgeous from the trailer. There wasn't much sort of to go off in this trailer, which is a good thing. I didn't feel like I saw too much at all. There's really good people involved in this movie, so I'm hoping that eventuates in a really good film.
Nice. Alrighty, well, we will wrap things up there. As always, remember to like, subscribe, share it around. As I said, we're going to have some pretty exciting weeks coming up.
Particularly for spooky season.
Yeah, so we're going to kick things off next week with the dedication to Maggie Smith and do the Chamber of Secrets, which it's a little bit spooky when it comes to Harry Potter anyway.
It is.
And then we're going to be doing some more spooky themed stuff for Halloween in the following weeks. So hopefully Beetlejuice will make it. We'll find that PG version. If you know where to find a PG version of Beetlejuice,
put it in the comments.
Tell us, guys. We're desperate.
Link it in the comments.
Link it in the comments. But as Paddington always says, guys, thanks everyone, and catch you at the next film club.
Beg your pardon?
Remember when we said? Remember when we said, remember, beg your pardon?
See ya.